All right, and moving on to the game two, if you will, in the Western Conference, we've got the Dubs up 1-0, headed back to Memphis once again for game two. This is a series now where, the Dubs were already obviously favored. Now that they're up, they are another -2 here once again in this game two, as they were in game one. Total is up a little bit as well, 227.5. You and I are talking about some serious stuff at this point, some theory about what happens in this game two and how that will affect what happens the rest of this series. It's super pivotal, obviously, for Memphis, who cannot afford to go back to the Bay down 2-0. We've got 5 games total. Really not even looking at the total games. You really want the Dubs if you're talking about 5 or 6 at this point. Dubs in either 5 or 6. Plus 280 there as one of the two bets, if not both of them, that you and I were eyeing if you were going to hit this series market at this point. So where do you start with game two and the series odds in general at this point?
Yeah, I think you got to zoom out a little bit and look at this series and think about how you want to bet it, because Memphis played really well in areas that they don't usually play well, namely hitting threes in game one. They were outscored in the paint, which is definitely a troubling sign. And out-rebounded by Golden State when Draymond got ejected, and they still lost in the clutch here. The defensive rating in the clutch, not nearly as good as it was against Minnesota. Imagine that. I mean, it's just Taylor Jenkins is a good coach at this point, but his guys are just so inexperienced that if you're going to put them on the floor in clutch time against a 3-time champion core, they're going to get exposed like over and over with easy action. I mean, Steph did not even get going until the end of the game, but made all the clutch plays he needed. Clay hit a clutch 3. Aside from those missed free throws, they were both as clutch as you would expect. So, I mean, game two, honestly, is a little bit unpredictable. I do kind of think Memphis gets this one, just because I think this series has to go 5 or 6. And that's why we're talking about that plus 280 number. Because I think you can bet both of those rather than taking the series spread at this point. So Golden State to win in 6 or fewer is like -250. And like, why would you take that when you can try to take these two exact bets and then you're only screwed if it's a sweep or Warriors in 7? We don't think the Grizzlies are going to win this series, like that, to say the least. Yeah, they like I said, the experience versus what Golden State has, barring some sort of bad injury, I don't think they have enough. I mean, Ja had a very good game one. I think that's another outlier, honestly. I think Golden State knows how he likes to attack. In his last 6 coming into the series, he averaged 20 points per game, 6 assists, about 4 turnovers. Shot 17% from 3 with a 95 offensive rating against this defense, which didn't have Draymond in there for a few of those games. And in game one, he shot 4 of 11 from 3. That is his playoff career high for threes, pretty sure. Jaren Jackson Jr. was actually able to stay on the floor, which is great for the over. He finally enjoyed some offense, 6 for 10 from 3. I don't know if that's going to last necessarily. And yeah, even Jordan Poole's huge night off the bench, I don't know if that's going to last. We targeted the under after Memphis in game one last series. I think you can definitely hit that again. Even if it is a Memphis win, I think that they will be able to do a better job containing those Splash Brothers. And they did do a good job on the Warriors without Draymond the last 2 regular season meetings. But the assists is where you look at. Yeah, because I'm talking about them keeping Memphis on a string, manipulating these young guys the way they need to get where they want on the floor. And when Draymond's out there, they're able to do that with 31 assists in game one. The last 2 losses against Memphis, 18 and 15 assists because no Draymond. But the last time they beat Memphis, the Grizz shot 8 for 26 from 3 rather than the 16 for 40 we're talking about in game one. So there is a roadmap here, certainly, for the Warriors to just take complete control of the series. I still think Memphis would get one and avoid the sweep. Get one in Golden State. So I think Warriors in 5 is a good futures bet at this point. And for this game, like I said, yeah, I do like the under at 228. And I like teasing it up if you want to get some extra safety on that Bucks Celtics game. Either direction, feel better with the Bucks +8 or the Celtics at the money line if you tease that one.
Yeah, we have a lot of opinions about this series at this point too. I think there's so many different creative ways to bet on it. If you feel as confidently as we do at this point about Bucks in 5 or 6. I do like, I'm sorry, did I say Bucks? Dubs in 5. My brain will wake up at some point, but I think, Dubs in 5, yeah, Dubs in 6, great too. This is one where I can definitely see Memphis coming out super hot early. I mean, they kind of did last time as well, but they were going punch for punch for a bit. And this one, I think that they can come out a bit frenetic. But so is Draymond at this point. He's going to be coming out, I think, shot out of a cannon, similarly to how he exited stage right when he was just like the heel of a WWE SmackDown, right after he got thrown out. I think he's going to be coming back with that same energy as well. And the Dubs were energized a bit by him going out. I mean, the rest of the way, but going into that second half at that point, they definitely did a great job in that third quarter, taking the lead. They outscored them the rest of the way, 64-57 after Draymond exited, and they actually out-rebounded them. There's a less turnovers on the Dub side, unshockingly, as Draymond was turning the ball over at a too high of a clip already in this game. Obviously, also filling up all of the other stats with 3 steals and a block already. Look, they need him, and they're going to get him back. And I think some of the outliers in this game, if you talk about regressing back to a mean, you're kind of talking about regressing back to a mean that still favors the Dubs. They get Draymond back. Clay and Steph. I mean, Steph is Steph, but they weren't exactly efficient on offense when they're shooting. Clay going 6 for 19 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3. And then Steph, 5 of 12 from 3. And that's really what you care about. 8 for 20 from the field, not great. Shot better and percentage-wise from deep in this one. And then, look, Jordan Poole, yeah, that's the one thing that the Grizzlies can hopefully rely on is you're not going to get 31, 8, and 9 on 60% from the field, 50% from 3 from Jordan Poole consistently. 8 boards and 9 assists as well, by the way. Maybe not as consistently, but like the dude's got to be considered for like 20. His props have to be at 20 and like 5 assists moving forward. You can't keep it lower than that. It was at 18.5 for this game, and it started out bad for it. I mean, the kid just kept missing. He probably missed his first 3 shots and then just kept pulling. You cannot stop him. He does not have fear, and he's got the green light at this point. And he and Kuminga also had a couple great minutes. They've got athleticism on this team that they've never had, and nowhere near the athleticism of Memphis. But Gary Payton Jr. the young glove, the mitten, GP2. Steve Kerr said before the series started, he's such a good playoff performer. He's going to come out. He's going to play a ton of defense. He does not turn the ball over and make bad decisions. He hits the wide open threes that he gets when he can. And he's really he's great for this team, man. I mean, between finishing, he's at 6.5 points. His PRA, you might consider it's like probably going to be about 12.5, which is, they actually had those props up for him in game 1. And you look at you just start with the minutes for him. He doesn't ever get 23 minutes in a game. Now he's starting and also finishing games because of that defense. And because if you're going to have the splash bros out there like that, you need someone who's just going to be the messy stats guy at that point, because especially when Draymond wasn't in, and even if he is, you still need another messy stats guy like GP2 who comes in and does that for them. So like I said, I'm not necessarily scared of an under in this one. I would definitely prefer it to the points that you're making. I think a lot of the regression we talk about will come back to this game not being as high scoring. When we get back to Golden State is when I'm definitely going to start smacking unders, as that's where Golden State's defense is incredibly good. It's 100. I believe their defensive rating is 104 at home on the season, 110 on the road, giving up like 5 or 6 more points a game. So that's where you start looking at unders if it's going to remain in the 220s, 225 at that total. Right now, I still feel good about the Dubs. I think the way I want to play this one is not the -2 off bat. I think I want to wait for this to be a 7-8 point lead for Memphis somewhere in the second quarter, possibly even more if the Dubs come out slow. We'll see how they come out, but I think I can wait for that and then get Dubs closer to a money line bet. Or right now at -130, I would feel good about a money line bet with the under there as well, just because they are the favorite. And I don't think there's going to be nearly as many points in this game, but I still think that they have the opportunity to win this one pretty. They have the better opportunity.
Yeah, but the Warriors also score 4 points per game fewer on the road, shoot 2 percentage points lower from 3. Memphis playing for their lives. We saw what they did to respond defensively after Minnesota dropped 130 on them in game 1. Tougher task here. That's what we're talking about with the clutch numbers. I mean, in game 1 here, a 120 defensive rating after holding Minnesota to a 98 offensive rating and playing at a much slower pace down the stretch. So that is a bit of a concern if you take the under, and it might go over late. But really, yeah, it does favor the Dubs more. In these playoffs, they're shooting 51% from the field in the clutch with a nice assist to turnover ratio. Memphis is under 40%. And that's with all those miraculous comebacks where it seemed like they could do no wrong. If they get into these real back and forth games at a championship level, I just don't. Yeah, I mean, they're in uncharted territory. I don't think they have the scheme, even, like, let alone the poise. It's just they're an easier team to defend if you can keep Ja out of the lane. I mean, Desmond Bane is their 1 3-point shooter, and so it's really just denying that penetration. I'm a little surprised Gary Payton. He started and only guarded Ja for 5 minutes, right? Maybe Kerr is holding something back in that sense. Maybe now he's going to use that great on-ball defender to keep Ja out of the lane a little bit more. And then I don't know where Memphis turns. Jaren Jackson Jr., he did kind of catch fire late with no Draymond out there to deny him. Yeah. So, I would consider the under on the Memphis team total here. That's where I think we have a better chance of going under, is them actually not finding as much consistency in the second half as they did last game. So, yeah, and that would probably, support Golden State holding on for the money line. But I'm kind of, taking a step back and thinking about the entire series here, in the sense that just Memphis can't beat this experienced team 4 times or even 3 times, which is why I'm saying 6 or 5 for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, no, I concur with that. And there was a little bit of talk of, GP2 staying off of Ja because he really guards guys full court, and they don't want to rush up this Memphis tempo and speed. I don't think they want to run with them back and forth, and they might get into that scenario with Gary Payton playing directly on on Ja. He did a great job on Desmond Bane, where he actually spent the other large portion of his time on the floor as he held him to 9 points, which was crucial for them because they saw, if Desmond Bane gets going from 3, we're in trouble. But sagging off of Ja and letting him shoot threes and having GP2 hug Desmond Bane, I think that's still a great sort of strategy for them. Is Ja going to continue to shoot 4 for 11 from 3? Probably not. Is Desmond Bane capable of going 10 of 12 from 3? Absolutely. So that's how they lose these games. And if you keep Desmond Bane in check, keep Ja out of the lane as much as possible, which they did a decent job. I mean, they outscored him in the paint. A large part of that also Jordan Poole scoring 40% of his points, 45% of his points in the paint, getting a ton of layups as well, wide open layups and doing a good job of blowing by his guy. And Memphis is not going to bring their shot blockers outside of Triple J onto the floor. Steven Adams is still going to continue to not see the floor, as there's no one that he could guard on the Dubs, who are going to continue to go super, super small. And look, that's why they need Draymond back out there. Looney had a good enough game, but he also just got torched by pretty much everybody that he was trying to guard when he was out there. He's not really made for this series either, as you just need to be so much faster with Triple J playing, the center position. And he's a good matchup for this game. I thought about taking him at only 14.5 points, or I believe it was 12.5 points, whatever. It was super low prop for him. I think you continue to look at his props in this one as well. As there's not much. He's one of the strongest guys on the floor outside of Draymond, so he's going to continue to be that and able to play down low at will. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to check out each and every playoff game video we'll have for you, as well as those player props videos. And until we see you next, happy betting.